Gambler comes with a question. Going to run Primo for the first time, looking at 400 milligrams weekly for 12 weeks, looking to run test E at 400. Still hearing conflicting info around the dosing of this compound. Is 400 generally too little?
Okay.
You tackle that.
Yeah. So look, okay, and please take this as like positive advice. And I do really mean well with this. When I see someone doing a set cycle, for me that sort of rings alarm bells, because my question would be, why are you preoccupied at these set dosage? Why is it also? I can understand maybe a set time frame if, for example, you only want to run it that long because of like funds or because there's a set goal and you're doing a surplus off that. But I personally think you should rejig or reimagine your cycle design. Rather, what is the lowest effective dose I can take to grow? Then let me titrate the dose of anabolics as I reach plateaus. Like, what's magical about just taking 400, 400, and 800 milligrams total load? Don't get me wrong, if you're a more advanced guy, you might have to start at that dose. I'm not saying that that's incorrect, but I'm saying, at least from the comment that I'm reading here, it seems like you just want to run 400 and 400 each for 12 weeks. Now, am I saying is that not going to work? No. But why not start a dose where you know you're growing and slowly titrate over time so that you can have continuous progression and get more out of less? Okay. You might also find that, depending how muscular you are, the dose of 800 milligrams total load might not be enough, in which case you would need to titrate it. Now, that's just something to consider. Now, going back into your question specifically, I'm going to run Primo first time for weekly, Tessie at 400. Really, man, from all the people I've coached, it's going to be wildly different, how much anti-aromatizing effect you get with the Primo. When you say too little, I take it in two ways. Do you mean too little as in like it's not going to be anabolic? Well, definitely will be 400 milligrams of Primo. The real Primo is going to be anabolic. You're only going to put some muscle, okay? And two, if you talk about too little in terms of the anti-aromatizing effect, that wildly depends. I literally have a client right now where we're using 50 milligrams of Primo with 400 milligrams of testosterone. His estradiol is actually on the low end of the reference range. It's crazy. Yeah. He doesn't aromatize much. He's really sensitive to it. In fact, we're probably going to switch compounds or just keep scaling testosterone because of that. Then you take me, for example, where like, shit, man, sometimes I have to do more than a 1-to-1 ratio of Primobolan or DHT derivative to control my levels of aromatization. So the aromatization part, it depends. Too little to grow. It also depends. Like if you're 300 pounds lean, are you going to grow on 800 milligrams of total antibiotics weekly? Probably not. If you are, 200 pounds and you're starting out at 800, fuck, that might be a shitload, and you can probably get away with 300 milligrams as a starting dose and titrate from there. So, yeah, man, I hope that answers your question, but just have a rethink about things and how you go with cycle design. In fact, I personally much prefer the titration model.
Yes, I mean, I agree entirely. First of all, I do think that this stems from, and I could be wrong here, but I do think this stems from a lot of forum speak, maybe. And people used to talk all day long about how Primo was weak, like it is the weak androgen that won't have nearly as much of an anabolic effect. That is horseshit. It will. Trust us. We've coached numerous people. I do think that as Adam correctly said, if you can start low, titrate up as needed per your results, whatever that is, that's the best bet. So let's say you generally are operating at 300 milligrams of testosterone without having an aromatizing issue, then add 100 milligrams of Primobolan to that, see how you feel, titrate testosterone, titrate Primobolan, and keep doing that until you feel like, you've reached your goal, whatever that is. And that leads me to my second point, taking apart this and decompartmentalizing a little bit. 12 weeks is far too short for me personally. This is how I perceive things. Usually, people are on cycle with me for 28, 36, 42 weeks. That sounds insane. But if we're following the model of using as much as you need, but not too much, you can do that, right? Like it's just a matter of doing too damn much too damn early. If you say, let's start it out in that instance I was just saying where you did 300 milligrams of testosterone and 100 milligrams of Primobolan, you could very well make exceptional progress on that every single week for 12 weeks. And then after that 12 weeks, you probably can take your blood work and see, holy shit, nothing's changed. And then you can go up 200 milligrams, 100 milligrams of testosterone, 100 milligrams of Primobolan, and then keep going, and then keep going, and then keep going. And it just goes in scales until health does become a relevant issue. Your lipids aren't looking so great, whatever it might be. Then you have to scale back and start over again. But the whole generic 12-week thing, if it's not important for you to be doing this for 12 weeks, run it as long as your health can tolerate it, again, at the lowest dose, then scaling up as you need for a desired effect. That is kind of my 2 cents. I definitely appreciate the titration approach. The 400 at 12 weeks was the max around what I have. The test will likely start a bit lower. Subjective question, no, but really appreciate the response. Yeah, of course, man. And again, we're not trying to dog you. Like, this is just a bit of a, like a gut check in sense of like, this is what we would do. It doesn't mean you have to do it. It's just sort of like, run it longer. You're probably going to get better effects. And there's no generic number that's going to help you. It's just, unfortunately, N equals 1, man. It's, you got to test it. And usually the best way to test things is starting out low and slow. Another reason why doing it that method would be better.
Yeah, man. And to further add to that, I completely understand. I mean, shit, I remember going on forums like 10 plus years ago. Fuck, that makes me feel old. Being like, yeah, minimum 500 milligrams of testosterone 12 weeks a year. You're fucking around. Like, anything less than that, you're not great. And I also remember specifically a forum post talking about anything less than 600 milligrams of Primo was not effective. I actually very vividly remember that. And now thinking back, I'm like, who the fuck came up with that? Yeah, as Carl was saying, man, like, it really depends on your health markers, to look at it from 2 different perspectives. If you get to 12 weeks and you're trying to get as much muscle mass as possible, you do blood work and everything is good. All health markers are good without me going through it. Why are you stopping?
Right.
Then on the same hand, let's say you get to 6 weeks and for whatever reason, your health markers are in the fucking trash. Are you going to just push it to 12 weeks? Why? So I think you should, again, as we sort of discussed here, reimagine things like base it based on what are your goals, what are you trying to achieve, and what are your health markers and blood work looking like. If we're having a green light across the board, continue on. As Colton was saying, most of our clients, because we prioritize health, because we do freaking blood work, they're on cycle like for very, very, very long periods of time relative to that. But all health markers are in check, and we take, for lack of a better word, cruise or TRT in quotation mark phases to basically restore health markers when we need to. It's sort of like, think of a surplus phase, right? If you are lean in your surplus, you're gaining muscle, your strength is going up. Are you going to mini cut? Probably not, or I would hope not. So it's sort of like the same analogy here, where it's like push the surplus as long as you can and health markers tolerate it.
Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%. We got one more question, and then